Have you ever wondered why millionaires like Elon Musk, Donald Trump, or Oprah Winfrey were able to succeed while other people fail? Because we're often told that success is directly linked to hard work, but that's not quite the case. Because all these millionaires also had an unfair advantage over their competitors. But what if I told you that we all had a set of unfair advantages and you already have what it takes to succeed? The only thing left to do is to make you aware of what they are. So in this video, I'll be explaining 3 simple steps on how you can find your own advantages to easily achieve financial success. And the first step is to find your unfair advantages. Now, an unfair advantage is a term coined by the famous authors of the 2021 Business Book of the Year, The Unfair Advantage. And it explains how life isn't fair and it never will be. So the secret to success is to find your own unique strengths and advantages to create a pathway that's suitable for you. For example, let's say one of your strengths is communication. And on top of this, you also have 3 years of experience in sales, and you live in a city where the housing market is booming. So based on these 3 circumstances, you have a high chance of succeeding in something like real estate. But the book gives us an acronym called MILES, which stands for money, intelligence, location, education, and status. And it's a step-by-step guide on how you can find all your strengths and advantages so you know exactly what to focus on in order to succeed. So starting with the first category, money. Let's take billionaire Donald Trump as an example.
It has not been easy for me. And, I started off in Brooklyn. My father gave me a small loan of $1 million. I came into Manhattan.
Whilst I'm not taking credit away from his hard work, he had a clear unfair advantage in money that only most of us can dream of. Or even Jeff Bezos, the founder of Amazon, received an initial investment of $250,000 from his parents. But it's not money itself that's an unfair advantage. It's just a piece of paper after all. But it's the benefits that money can buy. Things like time, freedom, opportunities, or even peace of mind. They're all things that can either accelerate your progress or give you more time to work on the things important to you. So when you think about your advantages for money, consider things like your savings, which can buy you books, courses, mentors. Or perhaps you're living with your parents, or sharing a house to save rent. But money itself can also be a double-edged sword, especially young people with lots of money because they might lack motivation. Whereas someone less fortunate might be more creative and hungry to succeed. So moving on to the second one, which is intelligence. When I mentioned the word intelligence, you probably instantly thought of IQ or how naturally smart you are. People like Albert Einstein or Stephen Hawking are known for having exceptionally high IQs, which give them a clear unfair advantage when it comes to things like academic achievements. But that's not the only driver of success, because you also have other things like emotional, social, and creative intelligence, and that can have an even bigger impact on how much you can earn. Take Oprah Winfrey as an example.
Real to realize, you know how you and I are most alike?
Let me guess. You're an introvert.
I'm an introvert!
I knew it.
You knew it?
Now, she was born into poverty, but her ability to empathize and connect with people on such a deep level played a huge role in her success. So when you think about your own intelligence, consider things like your common sense, how well you work with people, how you make others feel around you, or perhaps how innovative you are, how good you are solving problems or identifying trends. These are all advantages that will help you decide if you should focus on things like academics, or maybe your true strength lies with connecting with others. But the next category is a little more out of your control, or is it? And that's location. Because whilst it's true that you don't have control over where you were born or if your family is rich or poor, which means there are certain opportunities or connections that you might not have, but there is something that you do have control over, and that's what you do with your life right now. Let's take a look at Elon Musk as an example. He began his entrepreneur journey in Silicon Valley, home to the biggest tech companies in the world. But the thing is, Elon wasn't born there. In fact, he was born in Africa, but made a decision to move to the US to take advantage of the location. And being in Silicon Valley, he had constant exposure to new opportunities, like-minded people, and access to specialized technologies, which helped him launch his first successful business, which sold for $300 million. So when you consider your own unfair advantages for location, don't just consider what's in front of you, but the potential advantages if you could move to a better location. And one of the biggest reasons why people move locations is to get a better education, which is the 4th category of the framework. To understand the unfair advantage of education, let's dive into the life of popular YouTuber Ali Abdaal. One of his biggest unfair advantages contributing to his success on YouTube was the fact that he was a doctor from a prestigious university. His specialized knowledge on human health and performance added to his credibility talking about productivity-based topics. But on top of this, he also had experience in teaching, which made it easier for him to explain things clearly and confidently on camera. So if you personally have any type of specialized knowledge, whether it's a bachelor's degree, certification, work experience, or even the fact that you only need to be one step ahead of someone else to be considered an expert on a subject or matter. But like most other millionaires, education wasn't the only thing going for Ali Abdaal. The fact that he was a doctor or a top student in Cambridge University meant that people instantly perceived him at a higher status, which is the last category of the framework. And status is really just referring to how other people perceive you. But it's so important when it comes to getting ahead of people because it determines how much you stand out from the crowd and how trustworthy you are in the eyes of others. For example, a doctor is seen higher than a nurse, a CEO is ranked higher than an intern, and a billionaire is more credible than, well, me. But if you don't have a fancy title or qualification, there are still many other factors that contribute to your status. And these are things like your age, gender, appearance, how you dress, how you stand, how you walk, how you talk. Everything that makes up who you are as a person. So the key focus when it comes to status as an unfair advantage is determining what specifically about you makes you more credible at what you say or what you do. But all in all, don't be shy with listing your advantages, because every single factor here is completely unique to you. So now that you have a good understanding of what your strengths and advantages are, the second step is to double down on your true strengths. Now, for this exercise, start by choosing the categories where you really think you excel in, because you want to focus on those areas and turn them into practical skills that you can immediately benefit from. But if you're unsure with what to do, here's an example of how I use my own unfair advantages to become a national manager in just 5 years of working. So I've spent the last 7 years working in finance, and I never really had a clear direction or goal. But in my second year of working, I became a finance manager. And in my 5th year of working, I became a national manager. And the main reason why I could climb up the ladder so quickly is because I focused on 3 categories of the Miles framework. The first one is emotional intelligence. I've always enjoyed connecting with people, and I really try to understand them on a deeper level whenever I can. So I ended up using that to my advantage by building strong networks that led to a bunch of promotions. The second one is specialized education. I started with a bachelor's degree in commerce, so I decided to further specialize in finance by becoming a chartered accountant. I put all my focus into knowing the ins and outs of budgets and reporting, which quickly boosted my credibility when it comes to numbers. And the last one is status. Now, I was pretty introverted when I first started working, but I always had an aura of confidence because I simply worked out at the gym. So riding that momentum, I developed a very firm and confident personality, which led me down the path of leadership. And so the biggest takeaway for you is that your unfair advantage might not be that obvious, or you might even feel like it's just not good enough. But in reality, your unfair advantage is like a seed. It starts off small, but the more you water and nurture it, the bigger and stronger it becomes. So just start by taking small steps and slowly grow each strength as you go. Which leads us into the third and final step, which is taking action. Now, it might sound obvious, but if you never take action, then you will never grow or get ahead of anyone. But I know that's easier said than done, because taking action means first taking control of your mind. And actually, the book talks about mindset being the foundation of all success. There's a quote from the author, and he states that,
if you don't have the right mindset, you're just not going to get anywhere.
So if you want to learn how to unlock the right mindset for success, then you can check out my next video here. So thank you for watching, and I'll see you there soon.